Hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session. Can you guys tell me whether my voice is clear? And is this screen clearly visible to you? आवाज सही से आ रही है? Little bit low. Is this fine? Okay. So welcome to today's session. And today is 8th and 9th. 8th and 9th current affairs. Okay, the format will be similar. First, we'll cover ESI banking finance news. And we will try to understand as much as possible the most important concepts associated with these news. Okay, so that these news becomes a little more, let's say, easy to remember for the future purposes. And also then we'll see some of the phase 1 specific one-liner type news. Okay, so let's try to cover the whole news in this session only. And let's try to revise all of these things. So are you guys revising all the contents that we are trying to do? First of all, tell me this. Or is there any issue with respect to current affairs? Still no sound, everyone? आ रहा है ना? ठीक है. Just give me a sec. So the first news is, let's start with the news. So the first news is FAR bonds to be included in Bloomberg Emerging Market Index. So in order to understand this news, but let's say first check what the news actually says. The government's fully accessible route bonds is set to be included in the Bloomberg Emerging Market Local Currency Index. This will be phased in over a 5-month period. As a result, these bonds will be included in the indices with initial weight of 20, and then after 5 months, the full weight will be included in the index. So in order to understand this news, we have to understand what exactly is fully accessible route bonds, isn't it? What is this emerging market local currency index? And apart from that, inclusion of these bonds into this index, how does it benefit Indian bond market? Okay, and how does it impact government? And why was this didn't happen previously? So all of these things we will try to understand through. So first of all, what do we mean by fully accessible route bonds? So previously, as all of you must have known, that under Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, there were several restrictions with respect to how much external amount can be invested in government securities. There was always an investment ceiling that only up to that much amount of funds you can invest in government's bond market. And previously this was done obviously because of a lot of thought process that this may impact financial stability, or foreign funds can come into India and then they can pull it out, and then this can disrupt India's currency market as well as debt market. But that thinking, it went too far, and it divides Indian financial or debt market with a lot of liquidity from the foreign governments or foreign investors. There must be some case scenario ki foreign investors, if they would have known about Indian bond market, they could have invested in India's market also. But now that India's financial market are actually growing a lot, India's metal is being recognized by the whole world. So it is time for at least put some government securities, and mark my words, we are saying some government dated securities, and let's allow full foreign investment into these securities without any investment limit. So RBI in 2020, so Reserve Bank of India in 2020 introduced this fully accessible route. Okay? And what does this route does? It allows foreign investors, and these can be FPIs, hedge funds, non-resident Indians, OCIs. Okay, it allows these investors to invest in specified, that means whatever RBI specified government dated securities. Okay? And what do we mean by government dated securities? It's like government bonds that will be maturing after a certain amount of time, let's say 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, all of these securities. So this is what fully accessible route phenomena is, and such type of securities that are listed or provided for these investors without any limit. Okay, such type of bonds we call fully accessible route bonds. Any confusion? Is there any confusion regarding FAR bonds to anyone? Okay. So we've understood what these FAR bonds is, but the news talked about that these bonds will be listed in Bloomberg Emerging Market Local Currency Index. Okay, what exactly is this? So it is a benchmark index. So if you, let's say, you all guys know Nifty as well as BSE Sensex, है ना? These indices actually, tracks the value of, at least if we take example of Nifty tracks the value of all top 50 companies on the basis of market cap listed on National Stock Exchange. Isn't it? So Nifty is a benchmark index that, checks the value of all. So similarly, this emerging market index of Bloomberg, it is also a benchmark index. Okay? And what does a benchmark index do? Suppose this index has different types of bond. So it has India's FAR bonds, it has China's bonds, Mexico's bonds. Okay, and based on the demand and supply of these bonds, it tracks their value. Okay. Benchmark index of local currency bond markets, local currency bonds. ठीक है, तो under this Bloomberg index, it tracks the price of bonds of different countries. Again, I'm repeating. Okay, so India's bond, fully accessible route 1, denominated in rupees. Mexico bonds, China's bonds, and let's say some other country, Russia's bonds, and South Africa's bonds. All the emerging markets bonds. Okay, obviously these bonds will be given weightage in this particular index, but just how Nifty 50 actually tracks the performance of all the 50 companies. There are some days when Reliance performs a lot more, and because of which the whole Nifty index increases, and it is why, because the Reliance has higher weightage. Okay. If you want to see the layman language, in layman language, if you see, let's think the weightage given to India's bond is, let's say, rupees 2. Okay. This is the weightage given to all these 20%. So that becomes your 100% index. And let's say if India's FAR bond market increase on account of its demand, so this becomes 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. So overall index will grow by 110%. So this increase in prices or decrease in prices is tracked by the emerging market index. Now is it clear? So we've understood that what exactly these FAR bonds is, and these FAR bond will be listed in Bloomberg Emerging Market Index. So ये तो है news. This is what news is there. But what exactly benefits are being provided on account of India's FAR bonds being included in Bloomberg Emerging Market Index? So you know, a lot of mutual funds, especially index funds. ठीक है, अगर आप हर company, whatever asset management company you pick, HDFC, UTI, all of these companies offer you index funds. Okay, which the funds will put the price as and replicate these existing indices. So there is a Nifty 50 index fund that will, in whatever manner the Nifty will grow, the same manner your index fund will grow. So these indices are essential for fund purposes. So all the asset management companies will look at this emerging market index of Bloomberg. They will see India's FAR bond is also listed there. Okay, so this gives those foreign investors an opportunity to put money into India's foreign, FAR, fully accessible route bonds. So this will increase liquidity for India's government. So instead of getting loan from foreign governments or foreign institutions, the government of India can get the money through these foreign investors. And obviously, if the demand is high, the interest that the government will be paying will be a little bit lesser. So I hope you understand everything. What are the concepts and what are the various benefits associated with it? Any doubts till now? Chalo, let's move on to the next news, which is individual income inequality fell during financial year 14 and 22. And this is on the basis of report released by State Bank of India's Economic Research Department report. So this department talked about two things: income inequality and overall income. So what this report says, that income inequality in India has actually declined. That means, we are getting relatively equal in terms of income, relatively equal. And another thing, obviously, the income reported by individuals in India has increased. So these are the two reports. These are the two findings released by this SBI report. Okay. And apart from that, there is one more thing, that how does it actually came about to know all these data? How can this research department say this? So research department utilized the data of ITR filed by, various taxpayers in India. So initially in financial year 14, SBI noticed that there are a lot of ITR filings that provided you details of their income in the lower income bracket. But almost 21% of the people actually moved above right now, if you actually track those people income from financial year 14 to financial year 22. So in that manner, the SBI research department said that income inequality has reduced. So this is on the basis of Gini coefficient. So Gini coefficient value has been reduced from 0.472 to 0.402. So for all of you who will be giving the banking related examinations, or for those who will be giving RBI's regulatory, RBI's examination, to make sure to remember this report. Okay. Although we will be providing this report in the course also, but this is a very important report for us to remember. It's anyways related to income inequality topic of ESI as well. What is the difference between FAR bonds and FDI? And what is Gini coefficient? Okay. So देखो आप bond समझो. What exactly is bond? It is a debt instrument. It is a debt instrument released by government, released by Reserve Bank of India on behalf of government. Okay. And what is the property of this debt instrument? If there is some amount, let's say 1 CR, and obviously these are issued at discount. So although the price written on it is 1 CR, it will be available for buying at, let's say, 95 lakh. And if you invest 95 lakh rupees into it, after 30 years, the government will pay you 1 CR rupees. So this is the property of bonds. Fully accessible route is nothing but that there is no limit with respect to these investment securities. So these investment securities can be as many amount as possible. Okay? And there is no restriction with respect to foreign investors to invest in such type of securities. A single investor can invest a lot more. So ये तो हो गया debt instrument. But when you talk about FDI, foreign direct investment, it is a form of equity investment. That means you are being owner of the company. So you invested, let's say, so Suzuki came to India and bought 50% share of Maruti Udyog. Okay? This is what we call foreign direct investment. an equity investment, where obviously if you see the parameters with respect to FDI as well as FPI, if you invest more than 10% within an Indian company, it will called as FDI. If a single investor does this, it will be called as FDI. And if less than 10%, FPI. So I hope the difference is clear with respect to FDI and FAR. Sign. Both of these are different instruments. One is debt instrument, one is equity. And with respect to Gini coefficient, the Gini coefficient is nothing but जैसे आप GDP को यूज करते हो as a metric to measure national production. Similarly, Gini coefficient is a measure of income inequality. ठीक है, Gini coefficient की value is in the range of 0 to 1. The more it is towards 1, the more it talks about income inequality. That means अगर towards 1 अगर value जा रही है, that means highly unequal is the society. If it is 1, that means there is complete inequality in the society. If it is 0, then it means there is complete equality in the society with respect to income. I hope these two doubts are clear. So as you can see, the Gini coefficient has been reduced from 0.472 to 0.402. That means we are moving towards 0. That means we are getting a little bit equal towards income equality. Okay. Next question, next, e-way bills without e-invoice details for business to business employee deals to be blocked from March 1st. Okay, so there are two things. First is e-way bills and then there is e-invoice, and this is with respect to B2B and B2E deals. So let's first see the news, then we'll try to expand on it. So select GST payers will not be able to generate e-way bill without detail of e-invoice. And this will be starting from March 1st, 24. Okay. So this will be applicable for e-invoice enabled taxpayers for the transactions related to supplies under B2B and B2E and exports as well. Okay. So as on date, businesses with an annual turnover of 5 CR or more are mandatorily required to generate e-invoices right now, which means 10 lakh SSCs are required to do this. Okay, but this does not include exempted categories such as bank, non-banking, financial companies or insurance company. So this is news which talks about e-way bills as well as e-invoices, and 3 specific business transactions it talks about: business to business employee and export transactions. Business to customer transaction it hasn't discussed. Okay? So you should be very aware of what are these different types of transactions. The news says that in order to generate e-way bill from March 1st, you have to generate e-invoice also. So this is another thing. Now let's understand both of these things. So first of all, e-invoice and e-way bill difference. Okay. So e-invoice, I hope everybody of you knows, whenever you do a transaction with any particular company, okay, let's say if me as an Infosys company, I have bought laptops for the employees from, let's say, HP. So if I have placed 100 laptops order, and if I have done the payment also, then a e-invoice will be generated that HP has sold 100 laptops to Infosys at this price value. तो ये invoice हो गया, है ना? But e-way bills are, it's a document that needs to be generated if any good is being transported interstate. For example, if the Infosys who have bought this 100 laptops, okay, and if now Infosys wants to send, let's say, 10 laptops to the branch in, let's say, Maharashtra, Mumbai, but the Infosys company is located in Bangalore, so that means there is an interstate travel, and 10 laptops cost, if you assume it as 10 lakh rupees. Okay? The condition with respect to e-way bill is, if your goods value is more than 50,000, then you have to compulsorily generate e-way bill. So naturally, this 10 lakh value is more than 50,000. So Infosys company has to generate a e-way bill, which they have to, show it to the interstate police that, okay, this is e-way bill, the taxation has already been done, okay, and now it is going to the branch of Infosys. That's what the purpose of e-way bill, that whatever goods that you are taking from one place to another place has already been taxed or not. Now the condition with respect to news is saying that in order to generate this e-way bill, you have to first show invoice. Previously, what used to happen, you can just go into the e-way bill registration portal, submit all of your details manually, and then try to generate the bill and then take the products. And then there is compliances in the future. But right now, from 1st March, what will happen? This e-way registration bill portal will ask you e-invoice of whatever product that you will be sending from one state to another. That means this invoice, you have to first enter into this, and then only your e-way bill will be generated. And this will obviously bring transparency, it will reduce the compliances, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जितना detail आएगा, that will automatically be filled in your e-way bill. So it will reduce manual entry, it will reduce errors, and it will also make sure that everything is being digitized. Government will be aware of what transactions companies are doing, and government will also be aware of whether these companies have paid all the taxes or not at the sale. है ना? So I hope all of you are clear with respect to what the news is all about. Any confusion between these two things and what the news says? Chalo. Now let's move on to the next news. So it says life insurance insurers payout moderates in financial year 23. And obviously this came from annual report of IRDAI. Okay. So what does the news say? The life insurance industry paid a total benefit of 4.96 trillion in 2022-23 as compared to 5.02 trillion in previous year. That means this year the benefits have been reduced. Previous year, because the COVID wave was there in 22, financial year 22, that means 21 to 22. Okay. So that's why the payment was higher at that period, but this year it came down. The benefits paid on account of surrender withdrawal increased by 25.62%. That means the more number of people are actually surrendering their policy. And what do we mean by surrendering their policy? That they are cancelling their policy after some maturity period. Because usually what happens is, when you buy an insurance policy, let's say life insurance policy, there's a particular time period or surrender period, okay, in which when you surrender, only some amount of value you will be getting. But after some period, that the surrender value will equal to whatever price you have paid, then at that particular point of time, most people will, pull out their money from these insurance policies, or after some more benefits also. Okay, so that's why it says that surrender, funds moved out of because of surrender increased by 25.62%. This tells you that a lot more people are actually surrendering their policy. Then during the years, out of the total surrender benefits, it said benefits for ULIP, unit linked insurance plan, accounted for 62.51%. That means in the surrender benefits, that means a lot more people who have pulled out their money from insurance policies, more than 50%, pulling out people were having ULIP policy, which is unit linked insurance policy. And what is this ULIP policy? ULIP policy, it's like a, insurance and investment mixed together, such type of financial instrument. So in this financial instrument, in every mutual fund, what do you do in order to invest? You put, let's say, SIP, that every month you pay some amount, let's say 50K. But what if I ask you, in this 50K, put 25K as a premium of your life insurance policy and put 25K into any fund, any mutual fund of your choice. So that is what is the property of unit linked insurance policy. That means whatever premium you will pay, some amount will go to your life insurance policy's premium and some amount will go to the mutual fund in which you want to invest. तो आपको म्यूचुअल फंड के भी बेनिफिट्स मिलेंगे और आपको लाइफ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी भी आपकी होती जा रही है. Okay, so this is what the news says. Next, offshore syndicated loans hit 15-year high in 2023. That means a lot more banks are taking these offshore syndicated loans. We've done offshore syndicated loans in one of the previous classes. Can you tell me which bank did we discuss at that class, which actually took offshore syndicated bank or offshore syndicated loan? What was the name of the bank which took that? In the previous class we discussed. Anyone? Yes, correct. State Bank of India took syndicated loan. And what exactly is syndicated loan? We've discussed it at length in that class. Yes, very good. HSBC was the mediator. So what exactly is syndicated loan? Let's check whatever I have discussed, whether you guys remember or not. Loans taken from various institutions. And why various institutions are involved with respect to syndicated loans? Why do you think? Why do you think various various institutions or banks were involved with respect to syndicated? मतलब ऐसी क्या जरूरत पड़ गई कि बहुत सारे banks को आना पड़ा पैसा देने के लिए? हाँ, this is fine, that raising capital offshore, वो तो it's the purpose of syndicated. But what was the need for, taking a syndicated loan? Why can't they just go to the Japan bank and take the full loan from there? Yes, correct. When you are asking a lot more amount, it is very difficult for one particular bank to fully pay you that huge amount. देने को तो वो लोग दे दें. If they want, they can give. But that will be a huge risk on their part, because SBI in any ways still, although it's not like a government, and even to governments, companies or banks do not give that much amount of loan. And when they when different institutions come together for that whole amount, the risk is distributed. Okay, so that is the purpose of offshore. और फिर होता क्या है ना, if one bank will give you that much amount of money, it will obviously be aware of that much huge risk. So in order to compensate that risk, the bank will charge higher rates. So who will be taking that amount of loan? Okay. So let's see what was the news. The fund raised by India Inc. or Indian companies through offshore loan syndication hit a 15-year high, highest since 2007. Okay. HSBC was the leader in offshore syndicated loan activity, cornering 16.4% of the fund raised ahead. Okay, so HSBC is first, then Mitsubishi, UGF Financial Group, and then SBI. And this is the data released by Bloomberg. So remember this HSBC. Next, RBI levies penalty on cooperative banks for non-compliance of what? So first of all, this is Gujarat-based Navsarjan Industrial Cooperative Bank. RBI has imposed a penalty of 7 lakh rupees. And this is on account of non-compliance with RBI directive on placement of deposit with other bank by primary urban cooperative banks. So this is the circular, the non-compliance of which led to penalty of 7 lakh rupees on Navsarjan Industrial Cooperative Bank. What does this, circular talked about? The circular talked about, or it allowed primary urban cooperative banks or scheduled cooperative banks to, place or put deposits into another cooperative bank. This was the circular. But there was some restrictions that whatever amount that you are depositing into another cooperative bank, first of all, that cooperative bank must have good financial conditions such as interest coverage ratio, all those decent things. But apart from that, there was one more condition, that those deposits that you are depositing it to another cooperative bank, it should not be for investment purposes. कि आपने deposit कर दिया 2.5% का interest rate मिल रहा है, it should not be for that. It should only for, getting some banking related activities. कि draft release, draft के purposes से you're depositing, or for other merchant purposes. All those banking related activities, if you're doing that, for that purposes you're depositing, it is allowed, but not for investment purposes. Okay? So this was brief about this circular. And just remember this industry name, this 7 lakh penalty. Okay, and on the basis of this same 2 lakh penalty on Halol Urban Cooperative Bank Limited. Next, Fino Payment Bank applies for small finance bank license. So Fino Payment, it is like converting into payment bank to small finance bank. So although the news is talking about that it is seeking a small finance bank. Jab milega, then we'll again cover it up. But let's see this. As per the norms, payment banks that are controlled by residents and have completed 5 years of operations are eligible for conversion into small finance bank. So 2 conditions: controlled by residents, 5 years in operation. Then only you can become small finance bank conversion. Okay? Next, Indian stocks get first exchange traded fund in Gulf region as UAE deepens ties. So let's read the news. Gulf investors are poised to get their first regional exchange traded fund tracking Indian equities. This is the company's name. Lunate Capital Limited Liability Partnership is launching Chimera S&P India Sharia ETF. So what will it do? This exchange traded fund, it will do what? It will replicate the performance of S&P India Sharia Liquid 35 to 20 capped index. And this index is measuring the performance of Sharia compliant Indian equities listed on BSE. So let's understand through flowchart what exactly is happening. So this new exchange traded fund situated in UAE, okay, will replicate this S&P Sharia ETF, and it is listed on BSE, ठीक है, और BSE is in India, and whatever values or whatever increase that will happen in this ETF, same will increase in this new ETF available for citizens of UAE. Okay, so it is actually happening like what? Indian equities. It is like investing in Indian equities. Whatever money these guys will put, UAE citizens will put in this ETF, it's like replicating whatever is happening in Indian equities. जैसे जैसे इंडियन इक्विटीज बढ़ेंगे वैसे वैसे ये इंडेक्स बढ़ेगा, जैसे जैसे ये घटेंगे वैसे एग्जैक्टली रेप्लिकेशन इज हैपनिंग, ठीक है. And this will make more sense if you understand the concept of ETF. What exactly is ETF? So the name is Exchange Traded Funds. That means we are talking about those funds that are traded on exchange. What exchange? NSE, BSE. And these are collective funds we are talking about. What are other examples of collective funds? Mutual funds. But all those mutual funds such as index funds, small cap fund, mid cap fund, those are not, traded on stock exchange. It is like you just go to the company's website, put money into these funds. है ना? You go to the company's website and you put money into these funds. And what the manager of this fund will do? It will use the money, invest in stocks. तो ये तो हो गया normal mutual fund operation. But what happens in exchange traded funds? In exchange traded fund, so let's say if a fund is named Bharat 22 ETF, in which there is 22 companies listed or included in this fund. That means, मतलब जितना भी पैसा इसमें है, let's say 100 rupees is there, 20 rupees have, if there is 100 rupees, 2.2 rupees for I have invested in IOCL, 2.2 I have invested in, let's say, what? BPCL. That all these 100 rupees I have distributed among various central public sector enterprises. Okay? That means if you buy this, this fund is actually having money invested in central public sector enterprises. तो ये तो fund बना लिया हमने. Now this fund will trade on the exchange. In normal case scenario, what do you guys do in these exchange? You actually buy stocks of companies, है ना? Exchange पे तो आप company के stock trade करते हो. But what if I tell you this whole fund is provided for you for investment? That means if you buy a particular share of this Bharat ETF, you will be, investing in all these 22 companies. So this is what the exchange traded fund concept is. Is it clear? Any confusion here? So similarly, what is, this S&P India Sharia Liquid Capped Index, इसमें बहुत सारे कंपनीज होंगे, है ना? तो that ETF located in UAE will be replicating the performance of all these companies within this particular ETF. और जैसे जैसे इनकी price बढ़ेगी, this ETF will also grow. Okay. Let's go to the next news. Mutual funds asset hit 50 lakh crores. The overall asset under management of the mutual fund industry crossed the 50 lakh crore in December against 49 logged in November. Okay. This is nothing but the amount of fund is coming back into the mutual fund industry when the markets are doing good. So every people are saying, let's jump the bus. Markets are at all-time high. We also want to make money. So let's put it into investments, especially in mutual funds. Okay? So this is all finance-related news. Any confusion to anyone before we start this phase 1 objective-specific news? You know, I know I take a lot of time with respect to explanation of these financial topics, but I think this is essential for you to understand these news. Otherwise, if you do not understand these financial news, it will, you know, keep on confusing you until or unless you understand all of these things. Okay? तो भले ही time लगता है, but I hope this benefit all of you. See, benefit of small finance bank. A payment bank mein you have certain restrictions that you cannot issue credit facilities, you cannot issue credit cards. Okay, there are a lot more restrictions with respect to payment bank. You are only limited to payment related aspects of banking activities. But when you convert into small finance bank, that means you have become a differentiated bank. What do you mean by differentiated bank? That you are, let's say, if you are basically a particular sector bank. So MSME related, if you're entering into MSME activities, then all the activities, banking related activities that are essential with respect to MSME, you will be able to do when you will be converting into small finance bank. For example, deposits, credit facilities, you know, priority sector lending and other export related activities, all those activities you will be able to do when you will convert into small finance bank. But you will be restricted to a particular sector domain only. This is the benefit of converting into small finance bank. Your activity will widen. Is this clear? Chalo, let's move on and let's do these news as fast as possible. One liner hai. You all guys can, you know, just go through it and revise. What happens if you open Demat account with trading company or app stocks and we stopped using it and not invested in anything? देखो होता कुछ नहीं. I'll tell you what happens is it's just a broker that is facilitating to you all of the activities that you need to do in order to. So you are a customer. Let's say Karthik is a customer and you have opened an account and this is your portfolio. So when you buy a particular stock, let's say you have bought a one HDFC stock. So this portfolio tells you that you have bought a HDFC stock and it will also show you price. ठीक है? अब आप इसको यूज करना बंद कर दो, कोई मतलब नहीं है. But there is this depository CDSL. Okay? This depository will, you know, have your HDFC bank stock within your name. मत यूज करो, ये आपके अकाउंट में पड़ा रहेगा till eternity. So that's why you must have noticed that there are a lot of people who have bought Reliance shares in 1990s. ठीक है, लेकिन वो अब खोल रहे हैं तो उनको लग रहा है अब तो कमाई होगी बहुत ज्यादा. So with respect to your stocks, nothing will happen. But there are some broker companies such as Zerodha, they ask for annual maintenance charges for account. ठीक है? So if you're not using it, then this AMC will keep on increasing along with interest. तो आपको वो पे करना पड़ सकता है, that you have to pay this in later duration. So this may happen. With respect to your stocks, nothing will happen. They will continue to remain and they will grow in value until unless you sell it. Okay, Karthik? Does this make sense? Yes, we have to pay na annual because you are opening account. तो आपके account maintenance के लिए the Zerodha is asking you, I guess the price is 250 or 350, something like that, distributed throughout the year. So that is your obligation. Chalo, next, center imposes stringent quality norms on pharma firms. Okay, so a new type of quality norms with respect to manufacturing practices is being implemented by the center. So this needs to be complied with within 6 to 12 months. But small or MSMEs with a turnover of less than 250 crore, compliance and certification process are to be completed over 12-month period. Okay? But larger ones, that is more than 250 crore, need to put it into 6 months. So can you tell me? Let's revise MSME definitions also. Investment turnover. तो बताओ small, micro, small and medium. What are the criteria? What is the criteria, everyone? Everyone, what do you think is the... आवाज नहीं आ रही क्या? It is 1 to 5, 10 to 50 and 50 to 250. Okay? Make sure to remember these MSME definitions. These are very important. Next. Defense Minister is on UK visit, and when the something related to any agreement will come, okay, we'll look into it. To plug leakage, CBIC tightens registration for Pan Masala Gutka makers from April 1st. So how exactly these people are doing this? Okay, so special procedure for registration is being done to ensure capacity-based taxation from manufacturers of Pan Masala, Gutka and similar items. So all the registered persons engaged in manufacturing will be required to furnish the details of packing machines. Okay. This is a new type of taxation method specifically for Pan Masala, Gutka and similar items. So these are actually what? Sin items. That means they have negative externalities with respect to society. What is negative externality? That means utilizing or consumption of these type of goods actually harm the society a lot more compared to benefits them. So this is so for them capacity based taxation is being thought about. So in normal case of taxation, so can you tell me in normal case taxation what happens? So there is this value, and then there is a value is what? The quantity into price, and then there is tax on this whole value. So इस पे let's say 18% tax is there. Whatever you eat into restaurant, let's say 1,000 rupees bill generated and 5% interest GST, then how much it will be? 1050 bill. So this is normal taxation process. But in capacity based taxation, the taxation is, or tax rate is decided on the basis of production capacity. That means, let's say you have 10 machines that can produce 50 kgs of Gutka. So on the basis of your production capabilities, the tax rate will be decided and you have to pay tax on the basis of that. ठीक है? आपने बेचा नहीं बेचा उससे कोई मतलब नहीं है. How much you can produce or what production capabilities you guys have, the tax rate will be decided on the basis of that. Is this clear to everyone? I hope you understand this capacity based taxation. Next, Reliance Brookfield to open data center in Chennai. Okay, and this is Canada Brookfield company. SIPCOT Singapore to set up India's first net zero industrial park. And when we talk about net zero, we are talking about, energy consumption minus energy production. So let's assume that if you are utilizing 100 kilowatt of electricity in your building, but you have also placed solar energy systems over the roof, and that solar energy systems are producing 100 kilowatt of electricity. So whatever you're consuming is being produced by renewable energy sources, thereby net zero. So similar case will be here also. One World joins IATA's CO2 Connect. International Air Transport Association and One World Alliance will work together in carbon dioxide emission calculations. Okay, this is with respect to airlines and their carbon dioxide emissions. Next, MOU for green methanol bunkering. So AP Moller Max has announced a memorandum of understanding with Yokohama City and Mitsubishi Gas Chemical for the development of green methanol bunkering infrastructure. So what exactly is green methanol bunkering? So it is nothing. It's assume karo ki it's like this infrastructure talks about, let's say this is Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This is Port Blair. This is Havelock Island. Here is Neil Island. And we are talking about what? This is ship. Okay, we are talking about green methanol. The green methanol bunkering is utilizing green methanol as a fuel as against the normal ship oil. Okay? So this green methanol is also, let's say, less emission of greenhouse gases. Okay? Much more environment friendly, and developing green methanol bunkering infrastructure is developing, let's say, यहाँ पे एक infrastructure develop कर लिया through which this ship can go here and get green methanol fuel transported into the ship. then they can go here, utilize the green methanol, यहाँ पे फिर fuel भर लिया. It's like fuel pump, petrol pump, where you go and fill green methanol. Next, Department of Telecommunication extend M2M, that is machine to machine, WPAN, wireless local area network, a wireless personal area network registration. So Department of Telecommunication says that all those companies that are utilizing these technologies, they have to register with Department of Telecommunication. And this is being done for what? So as you all know, because of Internet of Things, okay, there are a lot more machine to machine activities going on. You can directly connect your laptop with TV via remote and other things. Okay, so all those things are prone to, let's say, misuse also. The external person can hack into it and disrupt all those activities. But if all those things are registered with Department of Telecommunication, they are much more aware of who is using it and what purpose they are using it. Okay, so that's why they say all business entities that are utilizing these technologies must register on Saral Sanchar portal. Next, regulators across the world order inspections on Boeing MAX 9 planes. I hope all of you must be aware of this Boeing MAX 9 planes. There was this incident on Alaska Airlines, okay, where this emergency door was, came out. So because of which every country's regulator is order inspections on such type of planes to avoid any future incident. Next, MCAP Club. This is market cap. Tata Group remains the number one. Okay. Market cap is nothing but number of shares into price. So let's say if Tata Motors have 100 share listed on National Stock Exchange, and right now the price is what, 600. So 60,000 is market cap. Okay. So on the basis of market cap, if you rank the companies, the Tata Group companies will remain number one. Okay, then Reliance and Adani Business. So in a first, Indian Air Force C-130J aircraft make night landing at Kargil. Zuno Health Plus cover for 9 family members. Okay, the Zuno is a company, provide health insurance policy, and it has come up with the product that can provide health insurance up to 9 family members. Okay. Mobility card for Bank of Baroda. Okay, so they have launched National Common Mobility Card, RuPay Reloadable Prepaid Card. Mobility card, I hope all of you know that you can utilize for traveling in buses, metro, and other public transport services. So you can recharge it via wallet also. Okay. Hyundai IIT Madras in Pact for Hydrogen Innovation Hub. Okay, so this is an important news. The Hydrogen Valley Innovation Hub with an investment of 180 crore is being developed by IIT Madras and Hyundai Motors. Next, urea gold to be sold at 266.5 per 40 kg bag. Okay, what is urea gold and how is it different from normal urea? So urea, as all of you know, it provides nitrogen fertilizer. It's a nitrogen fertilizer, but urea gold is about addressing the deficiency of sulfur in soil. So उसपे sulfur की coating है, and there's also one good coating mechanism on urea gold that enables nitrogen to release very slowly into the soil. Because right now, as all of you are aware, if we look, this is the normal or desirable fertilizer ratio, that 4 should be nitrogen, 2 should be phosphorus, and 1 should be potassium. But in reality, what is there? 8, 3, 1. That is excess nitrogen is there in our Indian soils. So that's why this urea gold is being developed, that not only addresses the deficiency of sulfur in Indian soils, but also have a coating mechanism that releases nitrogen very slowly into the soil. Next, UP to set up Pharma Park. Okay, and this will be developed in Lalitpur, Bundelkhand, covering almost 1500 acres across 5 villages. Oppenheimer gets 3 awards at Golden Globe. Nolan gets the best director, Murphy gets the best actor, okay, and Emma Stone gets the best actress. Microsoft to skill 1 lakh Indian developers in AI. Okay, and the program is AI Odyssey, comprehensive learning with respect to AI. So Indira IVF enters Nepal. So it is country's largest network of infertility treatment hospitals. They have entered into Nepal. ONGC starts crude oil production at its KG basin block. This is Krishna Godavari basin block. This was the news that we discussed in the first class, that ONGC is thinking of trying to start production of crude oil from this block. And here the news come, within 1 week only they have started production on KG basin. Okay. Next, 45,000 crore investment to develop river cruise tourism. And this is released by Minister of Shipping. So what does the news say? That they have announced this much amount of money. Okay, 35,000 crore will be there for development of cruise vessels and 10,000 crore for cruise terminal infrastructure by 2047. So this will help not only in river transport, but also in, let's say if you want to go from Mumbai to Goa, not by a car, but via ship, then you can do so. And not, because right now 1 or 2 ships will be there, but later on some more ships will also be there and it will become a very good public transport. Next, US launches first moon mission in more than 50 years. Okay. So this ULA, United Launch Alliance Vulcan rocket, will be the first private business to land on the moon. Okay. Next. So Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has won the 4th term as Bangladesh PM amid boycott. And remember the party also, Awami League Party. Okay. This can come as a GA in upcoming examinations. So McAfee to launch deepfake audio detection technology. I hope all of you are aware of how audio is being, distorted to utilize via AI, and a lot more reels are coming where famous personalities' voice is being generated via AI. So McAfee is actually trying to establish a software that can recognize this deepfake audio technology. Okay? So this is all for today's news. Anything else you want to ask? Otherwise, we'll wind up the session. So Pappu says this will discourage the production of such products. So that was the motive only, na? When we talked about capacity-based taxation, that means we are putting a tax rate on your capacity. तो हम तो चाहते ही हैं ना कि पान का प्रोडक्शन, गुटखे का प्रोडक्शन कम हो. ठीक है, चलो let's wind up the session, guys. We'll meet in the next session. चलो, thank you for joining, all of you. और ये सोमालियन पायरेट्स, अरे पायरेट्स, although not relevant, but this is India, ठीक है, ये रेड सी है, ये है सोमालिया. Somalia, as all of you know, it's not a stable country. Okay. So all the, youth is involved in piracy, that, or as of all of you know that this is a very busy corridor. All of global trade goes through this and then to Europe. तो यहाँ पे बहुत सारे ships रहते हैं, तो ये लोग इन ships को attack करते हैं और इस ship पे जो भी products होते हैं वो ले जाते हैं. This is what the purpose is. Anything else? So thank you guys for joining. We'll meet in the next session. Hello.